I unfortunately was struggling with the yips. I had full-on putting yips, just wasn't making anything.
She just goosed it just a little bit.
And I was like watching this really short golfer that was making everything. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm like too tall to putt. And I was like, you know what? She's putting well because she's closer to the ground. It makes sense. So I literally just bent over more. Didn't realize that it was 90 degrees. Didn't realize it was that drastic looking. And after the round, the reporters were asking me, what's up with the new putting stroke? I was like, oh, I just, bent over a little bit more. And I didn't realize what the big deal was until I saw a picture of myself. From that moment on, I literally made everything.
Looks good.
That was a good, solid stroke there by Michelle Wie.
Welcome to Lessons with a Champion Golfer. I'm Tom Abbott alongside Omega Ambassador Michelle Wie West. It's great to see you.
I know, it's good to see
How are you doing?
Good, it's been a while.
Let's talk about putting, and we've got to get into your tabletop to start with. That's kind of the most famous method that you use. And we're going to ask you a little bit about that and how it came about and kind of demonstrate how you actually started doing it.
For sure. I mean, it may look weird, but I did win the US Open with it.
You did, which is very important to remember.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I changed to it because I was really struggling with my putting. Couldn't make anything. I felt like I was really far away. Anyways, I changed it mid-round. So the technique behind it, I had a kind of a wide stance too. I really wanted to feel stable because when I didn't putt well, I felt really unstable. I just felt like I was moving all over the place and just couldn't really balance myself. So wider stance. The question that I get asked the most is, did your back hurt? The answer is no, because I really bent forward using my hamstrings, but really get to that 90-degree angle and then really anchor your arms close to your body. So the main thing about this stance is stability and just making sure that nothing moves except for the parts that need to. So I'm creating one solid unit here, like a Y, and I'm really feeling like I'm doing this. So I'm trying to do this feeling where it almost feels like this is anchored into my stomach, and I'm just rocking my shoulder back and forth. And I go here. Oh, that feels good. Maybe I should bring that back.
It's coming back
I know.
for your renaissance on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah.
Where were you feeling the method? Was it the shoulders? Was it in your body, in your hands? Like where were you feeling it the most?
Yeah, this one takes the hands completely out of it, which, if you're feeling uneasy in your putting, that's where you feel like, you want to, that's where the yips come from, right? Is your hands do like weird things that you shouldn't, or your head moves or something. So this eliminates, I felt like all of it. I felt like I was one with the ball. I felt like the club was literally coming out of my body, so it was glued onto me. And this was really pressed into my shoulder, or into my lats. So nothing moved, and then just rocking my shoulder back and forth.
2 in a row.
I know. It's back.
Now, you used a number of different methods in your career. Can you just talk about some of the fundamentals that were always in your mind when you were putting?
Yeah, my fundamentals in my putting were always ball position. I always had a tendency to get too close to the ball. So one thing I always did, no matter what my putting stance was to make sure I was in the right place. So I kind of would drop a ball, make sure, see it's right there. I just want to be a little bit inside the ball. So I wanted my eye line to be just on the inside part of the golf ball. Because for me, if I was too close, I would kind of cut it and I just wouldn't be able to see the line correctly. I always felt like if it was just in front of me, I would see it better. I always wear a watch when I play. I signed with Omega when I was 16, and I was terrified of taking it off. I know a lot of players take off their watches during golf, but I was 16 with a very expensive watch, and I didn't want to lose it. So I'm like, this is going to be now glued to my body. So I actually started using my watch as some drills, like for, really short putts. I really think that the face of this watch, I'm just trying to keep it towards the hole. And it really helps when you're doing left-hand low, You just want to feel like, boom, like there. That's that easy feeling.
When you were playing, how did you gauge when you needed to change technique? What was the process of changing technique, and how often did you really think about it?
You know, I was very much a feel player. I know it's a lot of times it didn't look that way. Was kind of a head case about putting too, so maybe changed my feel one too many times, but I just kind of based it on what felt comfortable. You know, with my swing too, I just kind of really latched onto that one really good feeling.
When you're over the ball, about to pull the trigger in tournament play, what is going through your mind when you're putting?
I'm just basically making sure that my speed is right. You know, everything that I'm doing up until the point that I'm in the ball is making sure the line is right, making sure I'm marrying the line and the speed correctly. And now all I have to do is I always line up my ball. I always line up my ball. So that for me is preparation. And once I'm over the ball, I don't need to figure out where I'm aiming because that's already done. Now I'm just figuring out what the speed is and just making sure that I make the right stroke to get it there.
Are you flag in or out when you're putting?
You know, I am flag out on short putts,
Okay, let's take it out.
flag in for long putts.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this is going a little left to right. So what I just try to do, I just look back and forth really fast. I don't look at the line really long and then look at the hole really long. I just like kind of make sure that I keep looking back and forth. So, you know, with your vision, you kind of see maybe like a little bit of remnants of the line and the hole and just kind of meshing it. And that's where the feel comes into play. You just want to make sure you feel like it's in the right place. And sometimes, you know, I kind of look back, I'm like, okay, is that right? Sometimes I just go like this, make sure that it looks the same over the ball and then behind the ball, because putting is all about perception, you know, where your lines are. There's, you know, illusions when it comes to slope. So you just want to make sure that everything is right. So I go here. So what I do is always line my putter up first, and then you bring your legs in, making sure everything feels okay.
There we go, right in the middle. One of the things that I find interesting when you've got the line on the golf ball is second guessing yourself when you're over the ball. Did you ever have that issue where you're thinking this line is left edge and I don't know if it's actually left edge?
Yeah.
And how difficult was that process to maybe back away? Or,
For sure.
you know, you're always kind of committed to that line, aren't you?
I hate playing slow. I'm a very fast player. So, you know, there were times that, and I had to work on this, where the line didn't look right and I would just like hit it. So I'm sure it's right. But you have to just pull yourself out. And that's kind of why I like to make that my pre-shot routine. I just have a quick look, being like, okay, this is right. Just so when I know when I go in, it's not the first time I'm looking at the line that way. So look back, go in, line the putt up right. And then like at this point, I really try to look at the hole. Like instead of the ball, because I already know my club face is right, I kind of bring the hole back to the ball. So I'm trying to create this like trail of it going in the hole.
There it is. Spot on. Well, I have one piece of bad news for you. Is that over time, I think the table has become a little wonky. You're not as flexible as you were back then. It's like this instead of like that.
Oh, it felt good. It might come back. You never know. It might come back.
Maybe that's what you needed, the wonky table. The
exactly.
wonky
The
table.
wonky table doesn't work.
Michelle, that was great. It's always good to get inside the mind of a champion, and hopefully Michelle's tips will help you at home to improve your putting.